Hi, I'm Emily Mortimer and I've accelerated in 3/4 VCD, and at the moment we're working on our folios. So I'm working on my presentation where I've picked a client as a company, and I'm working on a restaurant for a winery called Waverley Estate, and I'm designing the logo and packaging for that and a building for that in an architectural model.
My name's Noah Saffin and I'm doing Year 12 Visual Communication and Design. My client that I've made is going to be a brewery in Bright. They're looking to expand into like the Alpine resorts and make a bar, and they're in need of a new branding and logo. So I've been working on designing that so far.
I've picked 3 designs, which were, I thought, one of my best out of the ones I just decided. And I'm just fleshing those out and doing about 5 pages on each. And the ones I prefer more, I'm just continuing, because you just continue until you feel happy with it.
We've gone through stages of visualizations where you have to sketch what you're coming up with, and then you go into development of like certain few concepts that just try and refine your work. And I'm working with color and line and trying to make something that stands out and fits my brief. In my designs, I've used type and font heavily in a few designs, and then other designs have been very much illustration based, using triangles and mountains. And so that's like 2 different explorations of shape and type is really kind of created a broad portfolio at this stage, which I'll present, and that'll be part of my final mark.
So you've created this marketing around the company through the form of a logo. And so I'm creating the new architectural model, which is I'm creating the new building for this restaurant with the new branding and logo and design. You're looking at the environmental sides compared to marketing and advertising for a particular company. So they work hand in hand, and you get to like just investigate and look at and design in such different mediums, materials, methods, to just explore your understanding and just have a lot of fun with it. When I get stuck, I kind of just I can switch designs. So it'd be like, well, I already had this idea. So what if I just turn that upside down? Like, what if I just change that color? And it can turn out terrible, but eventually it leads to something. One terrible idea might lead to another terrible idea that'll eventually lead to a brilliant idea.
I really like VCD because it mixes technology, which is pretty modern and future oriented, but still has the manual media of drawing, perspectives and observations, and it really kind of combines those 2 well in what I think is the future of many businesses and the consumer world.
Yeah, well, it's a very different subject, and everything down at the Villa is very different to anything at senior school. So you're doing a lot more investigating, but in different ways. So you're investigating previous designs, and then oh, well, I love that idea, but I could combine it with this that I've already thought I could do. You learn a lot of different skills within this subject. You learn how to use Illustrator, which is a lot of graphic design and stuff, but you learn how to use SketchUp, which is developing models and looking at exteriors for buildings and creating that. And you can use InDesign and Photoshop to just help create different elements within different designs anyway.
So in the classroom, everyone bounces off each other a lot. You go to people with help, people come for you for help, and it's really kind of creates a competitive environment where you can really push your designs. It's much like what I imagine a design studio would be like.
So I find it really easy to help get collaboration here, and I just can bounce ideas off all of my classmates and my teacher and just help get feedback, whether it's pretty brutal sometimes and whether it's just hey, what if you just tweaked that color a little bit and just made that a tiny bit more legible, so then it can be applied to anything. Or I can just go up to Miss Bailey, which I've done on numerous times, and just go hey, what do you think of this color palette? What feelings do you get from this? And how do you think it would work within a design? Just to get out of the whole VCD space and get a fresh perspective from someone else in the design field.
And the feedback from peers is really important, especially to me, because I find I get myself really caught up in what I see in it, and rather than how someone would see it if they view it from the first time. That's why it's so valuable to have a big class, because they can come at you with heaps of different perspectives and experiences in their life and interests, and it really gives you a really good understanding of who this will be presented to. It's like a little microcosm of people.
So I started VCD when I was in year 8, which is the first year where you can do it. And I just immediately loved it. It was the greatest subject I've ever done. And it was just so much fun to create something, and it was so different to art, but then like use the same type of stuff, but it was more structured, which is way more aimed towards me. I really do see myself doing this in the future. I would love to become an architect, but I wouldn't mind if I actually studied graphic design as well. It's a field I just love to do. It's just creating, and it's just so much fun.